Hey, how's it going, everybody? Charlie and Garrett here from VE Movie News, and today is an exciting day, Garrett. We're going to be talking about something that people have been wanting to talk about for a
Wait,
long
baseball's
time.
back? Oh no, wait.
It might be, hopefully soon,
Could
right?
be. Right? Who
Um,
knows?
for years, it feels like we've seen the hashtag, we've seen it all. Release the Snyder Cut, right?
Right.
HBO Max is doing it. 2021. What is your first impression hearing that? Just off the rip, knowing that you're going to see Zack Snyder's version of Justice League.
Well, we saw. So my first thought when I first heard about this a couple years ago was, maybe it wasn't even then. I heard about it pretty recently, like where it really mattered. And it's my first thought was, okay, we got Zack Snyder's version of Batman v Superman, right? And people
Yep.
didn't like that. And he had this vision for what he wanted all this to lead to, right? My first initial thought was, okay, maybe we can get a little bit of a more of an insight into why it was he made some of the decisions in other DC movies that he did, right? Why some of the stuff in Man of Steel went the way it did, why some of the stuff in Batman v Superman that some people may have not liked. That was just my initial thought. And then I started to think about it a little bit more, and I kind of changed my tune a little bit because
Okay.
the first thing that I think people need to realize is that this isn't going to be some groundbreaking movie, right? Um,
Might not even be a movie.
well, true. Like it's not going to be some sort of story that people are going to be like, "Oh my goodness, I can't believe we didn't get this. Why wasn't this the movie?" I don't
It's
think
not
that.
gonna like you're saying. It's not gonna direct the path of the future of the DCEU.
Not at all. No, and I think if people that think that are kind of they're hoping for something that would. Do you even want that? Like think about that for a minute. You didn't like the direction it was going in when he was at the helm, and you want to see where it's going now because the new direction doesn't agree with what you wanted it to do. Um, I would like to use an example of another DC movie that had nothing to do with Zack Snyder or his vision for it at all. Shazam, right? Why
Mm-hmm.
is Shazam so interesting? Because it's a different kind of movie that you've seen in the DCEU to that point. I think that's why it caught a lot of people's attention that didn't really think much of when it was going to come out. Um, but no one went and saw it. So nobody really knows that. And I thought that maybe when because I figured Birds of Prey would be a perfect example. I feel like this is just going to be half Birds of Prey apology for me because like this for me is like okay, so you're more excited about this and you think this will be better than what's going on now, and I just would like to use the example of Birds of Prey as saying okay, well they can try and do something different than what they've done, and no one's going to like it anyway. You know, my opinion at this point is people just don't like DC movies, and they're never going to. Like the Dark Knight trilogy is going to be the only ones they ever liked, and even the third one of those gets completely destroyed. So it's like
Hey, yeah.
I think there's no good way to do DC. I think that's what we're kind of coming to the conclusion of. I mean, I think this movie is going to, for me, create a lot of continuity problems. And I think if it's well, let's assume it's going to be really good, right? Let's say it's like a 6-part series and it's fantastic, and oh man, this should have been the movie the whole time. Let's assume that reality is the reality we live in. Well, it's going to create a problem because now people are going to be like, "Oh man, this version of Batman with Ben Affleck is really good. I wish we could get more some of that." Well, we know we're not getting that. We know we're getting Robert Pattinson as Batman, and
Yep. Matt Reeves. It's that's not changing.
so
Batflick's gone.
it's done. And so like it will create a problem where people want to see where that would have gone after Justice League, and yet now we're going to be at a point where I feel like it doesn't. There's no good that can come from this. If it's amazing, people are gonna be like, "Oh, we got to see some more of this," and they never will, and they'll be upset and never see another DC movie because it's not the direction that they wanted it to go in again.
Right.
Or it's gonna be really bad, and everyone's gonna be like, "Why did you make us watch this? Why did we care at all?" You know, like. And by the way, no generic fan of any of these franchises, MCU, DCEU, is gonna see this. I'm sorry, but they're not. They
Yeah, you have to
won't.
go out of your way on HBO Max to see it. If it's so the people
They're
watching
not
this
even
are
going
gonna
to know
be
about it, Charlie. That's the thing. The generic comic book movie fan will maybe hear about this and not care at all. The same way they maybe heard about Bloodshot or but what was the James Gunn movie that I didn't see but was supposed to be really
Brightburn.
Brightburn. Nobody saw those movies, right? Except for people that are really hardcore into this stuff, right? So we didn't even see Bloodshot, and we had the opportunity to. We just were like, nah, I'm good. Like you know what I mean? Like, and so it's like,
So it sounds like from what I'm getting is your kind of ideas. You gotta fans have to take this for what it is, right? if they try and pivot this to something like this brand new direction of the DCEU universe, that's not the right way to take this. This is in the past. All you're seeing is the original movie. So in a way, we're kind of just seeing Zack Snyder's original way of how Steppenwolf dies, and we're actually being introduced to Darkseid, and that's really it. And Cyborg is getting a little bit of a different story, but correct me if I'm pretty sure he already had like a big expansion story in Doom Patrol, which
yeah, I mean, so I don't think DC does that in the same way. I don't think it's like how the Marvel movies are technically connected to the TV shows, and then like now they're really connected to the TV. They don't do that. They do generally. They tend to. I know I could be wrong about this. As far as I'm aware, most of those shows aren't connected.
Works. Yeah, I know
Doom Patrol might be considered. I'm not sure. I'll have to look into that. Those of you in the comments can correct us. But I'm as far as I'm aware, most of the DC stuff doesn't connect. I mean, there's been like plenty of DC shows that had great storylines in them. But then the problem comes in because like there's a Flash show and there's a Supergirl show and this and that. It's like, can you really have Supergirl just come over and no? So like none of that stuff's gonna work. So now, at least not. They're already trying to juggle too many characters in this movie, in my opinion, for what they're capable of handling. They could barely do solo outings that make everyone happy. The only one they've ever successfully done that made everybody happy is Wonder Woman. Like Aquaman.
Yeah, and we have that infamous shot, that Zack Snyder shot of Aquaman, stabbing Steppenwolf with his thing. So
yeah,
it's gonna be a different movie, and I think at the end of the day, we're gonna see a different version of how he dies, and just a little bit different version. I'm not too sure how much is gonna change. I don't know. I wasn't.
It's gonna be darker.
Justice League.
It'll be way darker.
Yeah.
It's gonna match the tone of the rest of the stuff he was doing. He's not gonna change that.
That first Justice League trailer is awesome.
Yeah.
Like. That
the one where it shows
so
Superman toward the end. So I'm curious, in his version, it's going to be different the way that Superman comes back.
Exactly.
Right?
What's going to happen with Superman? That's something we're waiting to find. Someone said Zack Snyder should go full version, have Henry Cavill with a beard at the beginning.
That would be awesome.
So
I mean, he
might. Do you think HBO Max will release this as a movie or a 6-part TV series thing, breaking it up into like Mandalorian size episodes?
So
releasing it weekly, getting
don't know how either
subscribed.
Really benefits them, truthfully.
One obviously benefits HBO Max a lot more.
Yeah, because you have to. Then they release it over a number of weeks, but then like,
yeah,
from a fan perspective, just seeing it as a 2 or 3, 4 hour whatever movie, I would much rather do that because then I could say, okay, I'm going to lock myself in for this. But like if I have to wait weeks on weeks on weeks for each new episode to come out, and I'm not really, because here's the thing that's going to happen with that. Let's say it's 6 parts. I feel like the middle 4 parts are going to be so frustrating because the first part I'll be like, we're getting into this. This is cool stuff. Here's some changes that are being made. Then they have to kind of follow the same core plot of the other movie for like the middle parts. And like people, I think it's fair to say that it's probably going to be a completely different film. I think it's going to be really hard to do that without a big budget. So it's going to be a very similar
which goes into my next question. So they've said they're giving it 30 million. Is there any way it's 30 million? It's going to be more, right?
Well, like no, I think they are giving it 30 million because it's nothing right now. It's just an idea and an outline. And what they're going to try and do,
they literally have to do like everything.
That's what I'm thinking. I don't think they will. I think that $30 million is what they're throwing at it so that they can use it for a cash grab because they'll make that back and more significantly upon, for me, what I think is going to happen is you're going to have a very similar Justice League just with some of the core storylines and interactions with the characters changed because I don't think they altered his movie that much. I don't think they went through and changed the entire story. I think that would be way too expensive for them to have done.
I don't know the dark ends of it. I don't know.
I think if they do try and make a new movie, it's going to cost them $100 million plus. So it's
exactly.
So for me, it's like a question of what are they trying to accomplish? Like, what are they trying to make a different movie? If they are, then yeah, they're going to have to give the budget of a movie because they're going to have to shoot new things and bring in these actors that clearly don't want anything to do with this movie. None of them really expressed
it's entirely
any
post-production right now, and then maybe some bringing in actors to do new lines.
Okay, I have a question for you. Mm-hmm. There have been serious issues in the DCEU with trying to get Ezra Miller to do anything. How do you think that's going to go if they try and shoot a new movie?
And then he had the drama 2 months ago with. I mean, I still don't know what's happened from that, right? With the whole.
We don't know that he's still the Flash. And when he has to be in Justice League because he was. So
are they going to have him?
Let's say they're shooting this as a movie or a series and they're doing it like with a new story. You're not going to get Ezra Miller. I'm sorry. There's just too much bad blood there, I feel
Well, they're not going to be. They wouldn't be shooting new footage. They'd be using Zack's old ones that didn't. That part I do know.
So it's very confusing because there's been a lot of information to suggest that it's going to be just a recutting of the movie essentially into a different, and that could change the story a little bit. And I don't think it's going to change it so significantly that you're not going to be able to know what's going to happen though. I think a lot of the set pieces are going to have to stay the same. You may just change some of the dialogue choices in there. Like from one example, like the big fight scene where they're in like sort of the nuclear silo or whatever you want to call it, sort of design place, like the underground place. That's going to have to stay. There's no way you can redo that set piece. It's going to have to be in there. They're just going to have to change why they're there and what the point of it is. And I just don't.
Who knows how much footage he has, right?
I don't know what they're doing with it. I have no idea what their plan is. I don't know what they actually want out of this. Personally, I don't understand Zack Snyder's take. What does he gain from this? I made a better movie than them. We knew that.
So,
like, we knew you made a better movie, Zack, because you made better movies than a lot of people for a lot of things. You know, like.
Yeah.
So that's like
kind of brings us into our next thing here. Henry Cavill. We've kind of thought for a long time that Superman's done. I mean, you had the whole Shazam thing where they used a stand-in with his suit.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So Henry Cavill right now is in talks to return as a Superman character. That does not mean a new Man of Steel movie, but what they're getting at is Henry Cavill to return the character in another movie, which it can't be Wonder Woman. It's already done.
Nope.
It can't be Suicide Squad. It's already done.
Yep.
So that kind of leaves you with Black Adam, Shazam 2, Aquaman 2, and Matt Reeves' Batman. But I'm pretty sure that's already... I think that one's out of the question, too.
Yeah, I don't know. That's not strictly speaking a DCEU movie, I don't think.
Shazam...
I think the way they're playing Batman right now is like it won't be the DCEU's new Batman until it works or it doesn't work. I feel like it's kind of the way they're playing.
Yeah.
It.
They haven't
Because they just be like, oh no, it was a prequel. It doesn't matter, you know, like, like something like that. You know,
we have no. Are they just gonna retcon Affleck? Like, how does this? Who know? There's so many.
That's why okay. So this is what I will say, and I haven't said this on any of our shows yet. If you just like say, oh yeah, Pattinson was actually, you know, he was actually Nightwing, and then Batman died, so now he's Batman, or something like that. Like just make him a version of Robin or something like that. That can make sense.
Yeah.
I mean, it won't make sense, but it can make more sense than what they're going to probably do, which is just say, no, he was the whole time he was Batman. Even when he was old, he was Batman.
They just got to make it make sense when that movie drops, and then I think,
but
hopefully they clear it up.
But if he's going to appear in anything, I would think it would be Shazam because they've hinted that he's interested in what Billy Batson's doing. So, but also Black Adam, I guess. I mean, Black Adam and Superman have fought, I think. So.
Exactly, and they might, you know.
Wait, is Shazam in that movie? I don't even know. Like
in what?
In Black Adam, I feel like he has to be, but he's not, right? Like
I think I've heard rumblings that it's like an early story, so maybe he's not. It would make more sense for Black Adam to be now, and then kind of lead into Shazam 3 / Black Adam 2. That's when we see those guys.
Could be.
Or Shazam 2 is when they duke it out, you know?
Then in that case, it would make a lot of sense that he'd be fighting Superman because he's got Superman level powers. So, I mean...
Now, let's hope they don't pull a CW and bring Henry Cavill back and job him out.
Oh, that would be terrible. Kill him again? In the same universe? You can't get away with it twice.
Yeah, so CW, infamously, you know, Superman's a jobber in their universe, in the TV shows.
Oh, yeah.
So let's hope Henry Cavill doesn't come back to do that. You know, if Henry Cavill comes back to get his ass beat by Black Adam or Shazam or Aquaman, it's going to be upsetting.
Actually, I'd be okay
just
with
there
Shazam
to put the next guy
in all the
over.
comic versions of Shazam and Superman fighting, Superman always wins because he's way more experienced with that level of power. But, like, Shazam should win. If you look at the way Shazam fights, he should totally win. But
so let's hope he's not brought back just for that. Hopefully, if there's any inkling of hope for people, when they brought Superman into Shazam, the standee, right?
Right.
They at least kind of treated him like a big star. Does that make sense?
Yeah, true. I mean,
the guy's freaked out. So hopefully they bring Superman back and he's actually Superman, the most badass motherfucker in there. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I genuinely just want them to do a story with almost it really doesn't matter where they bring him in as long as he's not like. I'd much rather them do a story where he somehow is like just like helping out the other hero, but then like I feel like it's very tough to do that without Superman just destroying everything. So it's like I don't know who you throw him in with, and it feels like
yeah, Shazam makes the most sense, but
at the same time it's like I don't know how much I want him to be involved in that plot. Like I almost want him to just be like a side character, but that feels wrong too. So it's like
I just want a Man of Steel 2, man. Let's just fucking send it in. Let's go.
I agree. It's one of the dumbest moves the DCEU ever made was not making Man of Steel 2 before Justice League or any other movie for that matter. Like you could have done that and then Wonder Woman and then Aquaman and then you don't even have to do. Genuinely, people are like, "Oh, we should have had a Flash movie first." I'm like, I don't want a Flash movie. It's a really long-winded way to say this guy's really fast and he's got a crappy life. Like we don't need a movie for that. What they did with him in Justice League was fine. I give him more screen time, but like at the same time, like what's he gonna do with the Flash that makes him a more interesting character?
Right? What can he do?
What can he do to that movie?
It seems like that
to
ship
make
has sailed. Like I hate to say it because I'm sure he's a good guy, and well, who knows? A lot of people hate him actually, so maybe I shouldn't say that. But you know, they had a movie. They're on like their fourth director. I think at this point the ship has sailed. It's time to just move on. We're moving in a new direction. You know.
Yeah, just I don't know. Have somebody else play the Flash. Have somebody else play Batman. At this point, I feel like it's the writing is on the wall that the DCEU is crumbling. You know, especially with the way Birds of Prey went. Right.
Oh, it definitely was.
I feel like the Snyder Cut, if it is good, is going to add fuel to that fire of just making them realize this is not possible. What Marvel did was so incredible, but we just can't do it. We can't force it. And that's what they've been trying to do the whole time is just force it to work. And it just doesn't. And like 5 movies in, you had the big team up, and it's like, whoa.
Yep. Which is why we said they had to take that step back, and now they're working back into that favor now. So,
and the movies that they're doing that in are either not getting viewed by people or getting completely destroyed critically, like not even critically, just like by like the online critics that aren't even actual like critics that post their reviews. They don't people that posting review places. These are people that have a platform and they have authority on the subject, so they can speak to it. But they genuinely, it's not like true critical analysis. It's like, well, I really didn't like this, and that influences a lot of people, you know. So,
I don't think I'll understand why people dislike Birds of Prey, but hey, it's like a Last Jedi, man. Everyone hates it, but the critic rating's good, so I guess we'll.
Yeah, that's the fascinating thing about
we'll see what Warner Brothers cares more about.
Yeah, I can probably explain why the critics liked it because it was so different, right? It's so different than any other Star Wars movie in a lot of ways. And it's similar in some ways, and they call back to things still. They do the Star Wars thing, but it's just so different than like the last like 9 Star Wars movies before that. It's just like they wanted to do something different. They did, and they succeeded in that. And it upset the really hardcore fans, but like if you're making your movies for your super hardcore fan base, you're going to lose some of them that aren't super hardcore. Some people are gonna be like, I don't get this.
And with Birds of Prey, I think people kind of need to. I think that
Can I be real for a second? Let's talk about The Mandalorian, how they just cast like a bunch of people for roles that people that only know the stuff super well are going to know. Characters like Ahsoka Tano and some of the Mandalorian characters.
People are going to be introduced to new ones.
They'll be introduced to those characters. There won't be the same kind of payoff that there will be for someone like me who watched a lot of Clone Wars and a decent amount of Rebels, that I care about the character of Ahsoka to the point where I'd like to see her in live action or, whoever. Like, it's gonna be fascinating to see how people right. So remember how when Solo came out, everyone was so confused by, spoilers, the Darth Maul cameo?
Oh yeah.
Nobody understood that because most people don't know that in the Clone Wars he's there. He's just chilling in the background. Just no one knows he's there because in the movies that most people
legs.
Right, robot legs, exactly. But yeah, the legs of a robot. But and so that cameo meant nothing to any of those people. That's my fear. If you introduce an Ahsoka Tano or you introduce, Sabine or any of these other characters that only people that really got super deep into the lore will know, I just feel like that's going to fall flat on its face for what they want it to do. Okay, it was really funny watching, Bill Burr make fun of Stormtroopers' accuracy, right? But again, unless you're super steeped in Star Wars, I know this so well that you wouldn't even know that's a joke. Like I feel like there's some people that saw that and were like, "What is he talking about?" I watched him shoot at people all the time. You know, like granted, if you watch the original trilogy, they miss, but they're also not trying to kill anybody. That's the point. You know what I mean? Like whatever. You know, like
Mandalorian.
There's a lot of stuff that people just aren't going to get, and I feel like that if you start changing things in the DCEU, what you're going to have is you're going to have one group of people that really, really wanted to see what Snyder's vision was, and it was right. Oh, we were on his side the whole time, except for when we were hating on him before, but we were on his side the whole time. And then there's going to be another group of people over here that are like, no, I still didn't like it. It's still a bad movie. So, like, what is the ultimate end game of this, for lack of a better term? What do
the
you
reality
think
it's not going to affect anything in the future.
What good can happen out of this, Charlie? That's what I want to know. What good can come out of the Snyder Cut?
I mean, maybe Justice League's more enjoyable to people now. That's the hope. Right? You can go back and
even if that happens, it's gonna create so many issues. Like,
I think they have to realize that it's not gonna. I mean, no one's really gonna realize, but because I mean, look, Robert Pattinson. When that movie comes close, people are gonna shit all over it, right? Because it's Robert Pattinson.
Yeah.
And then they're gonna watch it. He's gonna kill it as an actor because he's a fantastic actor. Well, regardless, the script might suck, all this other shit might suck, and it might be a horrible movie or it might be great. But you can't deny the fact that he's a great actor, and people are going into.
Some people do deny it, but you really shouldn't. But some people do. But yeah. Well, he was in Twilight.
Yeah, that's all they think about. Exactly. And when they say
not remembering that he was in a Harry Potter movie right before that, which everyone loved him in, you know.
Yeah, it's like go look at the last 10 years where he's grinded out on all these indie movies, working on his craft as an actor to become truly a great one. To where now he's respected by all his colleagues. But hey, you know, he was in Twilight. He sparkled, right?
Yeah, can't do anything. This is the problem with movie fans too, is that they kind of decide, and I hate this, and this should never be the mentality you go into a movie with, but if you hear something that somebody else says, or there's an opinion that doesn't really line up with yours, but you respect their opinion more, and this used to happen to me all the time when I watch movie reviews. I'd hear someone who I believed had more expertise on the subject than me, and I would be like, well, if they're saying this, it must be true, and they'd point some stuff out, and I'd be like, okay, you know. I tend not to do that anymore because, one, most of the time when I'm going to reviews, I'm going for the good things that I maybe didn't notice that I can maybe bring up in another review. And I usually do give credit when I have something like that. But a lot of times for me, like, you start doing that and you're going to get people that went into this wanting to hate it. There were a multitude of people that went into The Last Jedi that were never going to like it. Same with Birds of Prey. Same with, honestly, a lot of DC movies, you know. I knew going into Suicide Squad I wasn't going to like it because I heard everyone else say it sucked. I was predestined to hate that movie, you know. Just like with the new Suicide Squad, I'm probably predestined to love that movie because it's being done by James Gunn. But like,
I can't wait for that.
Right? This is where I can't. It becomes very difficult for me as a movie fan because I want movies to be what they want to be. But when that happens, a lot of times, you know, the studio will see that, well, there was this thing that was said that was negative about it, and people said this character was pointless. And can I just go back to the Cyborg thing for a second? I had no issue with Cyborg's story in Justice League. Yes, he didn't have that much screen time. What they did with him I thought was good. So unless you're just adding to that, if you're changing it at all, I'm not going to like it.
Apparently they really cut out, like, that's one of the things I always hear about is Cyborg. We actually get to feel like we know him in this new version. Like, apparently Zack Snyder spent a lot of time, you know, in his... I mean, there's so much extra footage, I'm sure. Like, that's the thing. A normal movie, he's going to have more extra footage than he normally would. But especially if this is a TV show, they're going to show all the extra scenes that he probably had.
Mm-hmm.
So apparently, because he shared images on his social media, you know, he just posted Darkseid in color. We finally get to see Darkseid in color. And he always posts about Cyborg and like this. He posts different stills here and there.
I just hope it's good. If it's not good, it's going to be a massive flop in terms of
because that's apparently a lot of people's issue with the Justice League is we don't know any of the characters except for a couple of them.
I don't disagree. They don't spend a lot of time introducing you to the new characters, but they also
theoretically, Aquaman should have came out. Like we can all agree by now, Justice League came out way too early. Like if you love it, sure.
Absolutely.
I mean, you still got to see that point of view.
But you introduced 3 characters in 2 hours. You can't do that.
Yeah, the Avengers what? It was 4 years, right? 2008 to 2012. They all had their own movies, except for
Yeah,
but they were all introduced in the other movies anyway. So it was just like,
that's true. But the MCU also decided that it was going to introduce every character before they crossed them over. Because what happens? Okay, let's be real for a second. What happens if you didn't have the luck of getting Jason Momoa at the time that you got him? Maybe it's even earlier, and he's still doing his first season of Game of Thrones. And maybe they, in an alternate universe, Game of Thrones keeps him as a character. He's not just, not part of the story majorly. Now you don't have him for that story that you wanted to tell. It's real pure luck that they happen to get him on the rise of his career after that, because otherwise.
Oh yeah, and he's
what are they
going to
do?
Bigger star now.
Yeah, well, my thought is this, and it's going to continue to be this until I'm proven wrong by the Snyder Cut. I don't think it's going to be that much better. Okay. I don't think it's going to change the narrative so drastically that it makes me feel like, oh man, this is what we should have gotten. And I just hope that it's not bad. Because if it's not a good movie or a good TV show or whatever, where do you go from there? Because this is my biggest struggle with this whole thing is like, okay, I get why people want to see it because they want to see what Zack Snyder intended. Okay. And the reason why this is if you've ever seen the director's cut of Watchmen by him, there's a lot more interesting stuff in there. Right. Well,
it's on my top 10 movie list.
Absolutely. And the director's cut of Watchmen is incredible, but at the same time, I just feel like if it works out, it doesn't benefit the DCEU at all. In fact, it probably detracts from it a lot. And if it does work, if it doesn't work, then it proves everybody that isn't really interested in this right, which doesn't benefit the DCEU at all either, because I feel like either way, this slams the DCEU in one way or another of saying, okay, well, this movie would have never worked, or this movie would have worked really well if we did not this way. I don't see how this benefits Warner Brothers at all. I'm very confused by the whole point of this.
I think for Warner Brothers, the whole idea is it's going to get people to subscribe to HBO Max. That's the entire plot point for that. Yeah. I think in terms of the fans, I'm hoping that, because to me, we know Justice League bombed critically, and a lot of fans didn't like it. To me, it's the second worst one. We've gone over our list. Suicide Squad, it's just hard to watch. At the end of the day, it feels a little hard to watch, and so it's not often I as a comic book movie where I'm that uninterested in it. Like Justice League, I just could not get into it. Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So for someone like me in my position, I'm just hoping I can watch this and it gives me a little better feeling about that back then. It's like I'm trying to relate it to something else. It's like if there was a different version of Avengers, the first Avengers, where something different happened. But at the end of the day, the same story is going to end the same. Steppenwolf is going to die. He's probably going to be killed by Wonder Woman this time because he said gods kill gods, right? Something like that. So I think at the end of the day, it's going to have the same beginning, the same ending. It's just, what is the meat in between? Are we going to be looking back on Justice League now and thinking, damn, that was actually pretty good? Or is it going to be in the position where I am now, where I'm just like, I acknowledge that it happened. I don't really care about it. I'm looking forward to the future. I'm looking forward to the new James Gunn Suicide Squad,
Absolutely.
The Reeves Batman, Wonder Woman 84. So I'm optimistic.
If it works out super well, it's going to be catastrophic for the plans that they have for the DCEU. I mean, there's no way. I just don't see how this benefits anybody. Because, people will watch this and subscribe to HBO Max, but plenty of people are going to do the same thing as me and just unsubscribe when they've watched it.
I think worst case scenario, they release this right before the new Batman. This has to be out long before the new Batman. Can we agree on that?
Yeah, I think so. I think if this contacts any other of their movies, it's gonna just it won't be seen because people will be going to see that instead. Like, I think what they need to do is they need to create a place in 2021 where this is going to fall and make that its only thing is that that's
6-week time slot, HBO Max, 1 episode a fucking week, just like Mandalorian.
Yeah.
That's their hope. And everyone's talking about it, saying how much they like it. That's their hope, right? And everyone stays subscribed for 6 weeks, and we pay 2 months of it,
Mm-hmm.
We pay HBO $30, and, if 1 million people do that, that's $30 million. And 1 million people aren't going to do that, let's be real. But you know what I'm saying.
Yeah. I mean, it works out for them monetarily. What it comes down to for me is I just don't understand what. And my question to people out there that want to see this: why do you care so much? Like, even if it's good, what is this going to guarantee? What does
I
this
think
prove?
it's because they're just. My guess is because they're disappointed by a Justice League, and this is just my guess because this is what I relate to. I don't know why people are so into it, but for me personally, it's that Justice League was disappointing, and they're hoping that it sheds a better light on it. But there is going to be people that are like, as soon as they see it, they're going to go see Batman and be like, "Oh, this Batman fucking sucks." You just know what's going to happen.
It sucks too because like if Batfleck was still around, you could theoretically scrape something together where you pay Ezra Miller an absurd amount of money, but he's just done. Like it was causing problems in his personal life trying to write the Batman movie. I mean, like,
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Oh, God, yeah. I hope
so
there's a
like,
world where we can still see him direct a Batman movie because
yeah,
Ben
I mean,
Affleck's a hell of a director.
oh yeah, and I think okay, I'll change my tune a little bit. I think a good thing could come out of this, in that maybe it makes DC realize that even if they had done everything right in Justice League, because of the lack thereof, because I don't care about any of the Justice League except for Wonder Woman, genuinely. Superman has had one movie, and in that movie, he kind of looks like a villain at the end, if I'm being completely honest. Like, I love Man of Steel, but he does a pretty atrocious thing in that movie in terms of heroicism. Like, yes, he had to do it. No, was it required to make that movie work? Like, that movie already, like, the problems that a lot of people have with that movie were well past at that point.
And I'm with you there, except until the Aquaman movie. Now, after seeing the Aquaman movie, I'm really into Aquaman. I cannot deny
Yeah.
that.
Aquaman for me,
But before the
but
movie,
if
I did
you'd
not
have done
care
that
about him in
first,
Justice League.
even if you just had Man of Steel, Wonder Woman, again, you don't really need to do a Flash movie, in my opinion. It would never have worked anyway, apparently, the way that they're trying to do it now. But
That's your
like,
Black Widow character. He didn't need the movie.
he didn't need it. Well, Black Widow appeared in some movies though, so you could have had him show up in the
No,
background.
exactly. Yeah,
Something,
exactly. He could have showed
he
up in
technically
Batman
does
vs
show
Superman.
up. I think he shows up for a few frames in Suicide Squad, I guess. But like, I don't know.
I think so. I can't
He's
remember.
one of the people that catches one of the Suicide Squad, I think. But like,
That movie's God.
we're not going to talk about that movie anymore. I just think that maybe happened. But and like, he shows up in Batman v Superman, played by a different actor, hilariously. But yeah, I think it's a different actor. It might be Ezra Miller, just looking different.
This kind of makes me think. With all we don't know who's staying and who's going, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do we know about Jesse Eisenberg? Is he still with?
I think the reaction to his character is he's done. Yeah, I think he's never coming back. If he does, it'll be for a brief cameo. I mean, it really set it up to where he could.
See, because that guy felt like he's legitimately crazy.
Well, actually, at the end of what was it? Was it at the end of no, not the end of Shazam? Was it the end of Justice League when him and Deathstroke are talking? I can't remember.
I think it's the end of Batman vs Superman.
Is it? Maybe.
And Deathstroke looked so bad. There was so
much potential with Deathstroke.
It is Justice League. It is Justice League.
It is? Okay.
Is the end of
yeah,
Justice
because he
League.
gets out of prison in some point during Justice League, I think, or something like that. Anyway, not the
bald
point.
head. We see Lex Luthor with a bald head.
Bald head. No, but anyway,
Bald head. Yeah.
This video is getting really long. I don't want it to drag on too much longer, but like, final point.
V movie news. Gotta love it.
Yeah, we always try and shoot for like 10 minutes, guys, and this is how long it always is. It's okay though. You're getting the full thing this time because we didn't really screw anything up, but like, yeah. So for me, what it comes down to is I really want them to just make this thing, make it not a big deal, and then whatever comes out on the other side, they just deal with that, and then they try and build something new out of this universe.
Okay.
It's so on the brink of just falling apart constantly right now. And that's why I think if it works out, this movie, the Snyder Cut, this whatever it is, I keep calling it a movie, but it's not really a movie. If the Snyder Cut works out, I don't understand how this is going to affect the DCEU, because there's no way you can say it's not going to. It's going to in some ways if it works. It's going to have to. But at the same time, well, what do you do with the old Justice League? Do you say that just one just doesn't count, or this, because stuff from that movie is acknowledged in future movies, so it's like it does exist in the DCEU, so it's the continuity is completely shattered at this point. And I don't know how you get that.
They keep the continuity that they have mentioned, right?
You could do that. I mean, but
Aquaman,
then
they mentioned he fought Steppenwolf. We know he's gonna fight Steppenwolf still.
Yep.
So we just gotta hope that they don't, add in some shit that's not needed. Keep it the movie that he wanted.
But that might have been what, like, because he was mostly not involved with the project by the time it was being finalized. So who knows what they changed? So it could be really a completely different movie with a different story and a different ending. And
yeah, Joss Whedon went in and changed a good amount of stuff. So he kind of Joss Whedon's where we got all those extra new shots. So we still have all those shots of what's his face is Snyder's, but either way, guys, this is as you can see, look it up. We're just going back and forth on it, just like I'm sure you guys are going back and forth in your own heads. And if you watch all the way through, leave us a comment, man. Let us know what you think. Are you excited about this? Are you disgusted by it? I'm
excited about Henry Cavill. That's what I'm excited about.
Exactly. HBO Max. It's not on Amazon. It's not on Roku. What are they doing? Who knows?
What if we find out the reason why Henry Cavill's coming back is because of the Snyder Cut?
Hey.
Could you imagine?
I'm Snyder Cut and Man of Steel watch along with Snyder and Henry Cavill. So, hey, Henry Cavill coming back is only good. It is only good for them unless they job him out. So,
yeah.
Either way, guys, we'll catch you on the flip.